Okay, I did a little digging and found some parts and stuff here. So let's see where we're at. Okay, for the shopping list, everything except for like wood and supplies, $59 and change. That's actually, technically speaking, 59 and change gets you everything you see here, except the tuners would be in black instead of silver. All the rest of this stuff is silver. If you go to 60 and change, you get all silver, including the tuners. Okay, so here's the parts we have. I went fishing through my sack of extra leftover pickups. This thing is only 600 ohms higher resistance than the pickup listed online on eBay. So this is going to be our pickup. And it's, like 10% hotter than the one listed on eBay. By resistance, it's 10%. Alright, so that's the pickup. Here's a neck. Here's a bit of pine that I could use for a body blank, perhaps. Set of saddles. And a jack and plate. And strap buttons. And that's pretty much it, I think. Tuners, neck, pickup, jack, saddles, strap buttons. Yep, that looks to be it. Now, on the pickup, since I now have a pickup, I was able to measure the height on it. This thing clocks in a little over 23 millimeters tall. So I figured that based on that, probably want to shoot for a saddle height around 28 millimeters tall. And so if we're going to have a... Let me grab the guitar. Okay, so here's an X6 kind of a thing. And it's got that type of bridge on it. So if this is going to be... Where was I at? Yeah, this is going to be about 28 millimeters, this distance, this height right here. So if this is, let's call that 30, which means that we want this distance here to be at least twice as much, so about 60 to be safe. And that's going to give us a nice break angle. That would be probably about the equivalent of dink, dink, dink. It'd be about the break angle you see here for the number 5 string. So this is what we're going to be shooting for, this kind of a break angle here for this one. So we want, actually, yeah, if our bridge is going to be about this tall, because this is probably close to the height that we're going to end up with for the bridge, then we're going to want our first tuning peg back a little further, just to be safe. The fact that you've only got the one here with the steep break angle helps, but you still don't want this guy to go that way, So I'm thinking now that we know this critical dimension and we need about 60 mil between the bridge and the first tuner or hold down or whatever we use. Now we have all the information we need in order to draw out the entire plan for the guitar, all the distances for like how far the bridge is from, how far from the saddle line to the tuners. And then once we have the saddle line and we have the length of the neck, we can figure exactly where the end of the neck goes. So it's time to start sketching out the actual plans for this thing. Okay, here we go. Designing a guitar. So we're going to have a neck. And there's the nut line. And then we're going to have a body. And I'm actually going to draw the body beside the neck since they overlap slightly. And the body's going to be, something like this. And then let's see, we're going to have it's going to be a 4x2 with 4 on this side and 2 on this side. So basically it's going to be that kind of an idea. And then, right, so here's our tuner, which means our saddle line is going to be up here somewhere. And we already know, we have a predefined heel that we're going to be using, size. So what we need to know is we need to know the distance from the end of the heel to here, which tells us exactly what this distance here should be between the saddle line and the end of the beginning of the heel on the body. So, time to measure the neck. Okay, as you can see, the end of the neck is more or less at the front edge of the 24th fret. And the kitten's just knocked over a jar of dye. I better go do something about that. I'll be right back. Okay. Fortunately, the dye didn't spill and leak, or leak and spill, or something. It just landed on it, upside down on the floor, but still closed. Okay, so, right, so what I need basically is I need the distance from this edge of the nut to this edge of the fret. And we've got a kind of dirty ruler and a bit of fine print. Let's see what we got here. We got 490. It's closer to 486 than it is 5, so we'll call it 486. That's in millimeters. Inches are way too chunky to be, 64ths and 128s and other BS like that. Screw that. Okay, so our neck's 486 millimeters long. 485.6. Yeah, that's cool. Now, our total scale length is 25.5, which is 648. Yeah. 648. So so if it's 648 from here to here, and it's 486 from here to here, then from here to here is whatever the difference is. I don't feel like doing math in my head. Let me find a calculator. Now, wait a sec. I should have no excuse. I'm a boomer. I can do this. All right. I'll do it the old-fashioned way. I'll cheat. I won't do it in my head. 8 minus 6 is 2. 14 minus 8 is 6. And 5 minus 4 is 1. 162. So does that add up? 46 and 162 gives us 2 and 6 is 8. 8 and 6 is 14. Is that right? Yeah, 14. And carry the 1, 4, 5, 6. 648. Sweet. I can still do math. Amazing. Okay, so there's our answer. This distance right here is 162 millimeters. And we know that this distance right in here is going to be twice our estimated height for the bridge. So we're going to call that 60 millimeters. And then the rest of it is just laying out the tuners where they ought to be, at a comfortable distance from each other. Say, something like a 25 mil spacing on the tuning pegs, something of that nature. The whole idea is to, come here, phone. The whole idea is to slice a couple inches off the length of the guitar by going to a 4x2. And the reason why you're doing a 4x2 instead of a 3x3 is you need to leave some room here for your legs so that it doesn't bump the tuners. And a 4x2 layout might be, it's less complicated to build the body than having to do some kind of a guard bar or something like that. And the only kind of weird thing is the fact that it's a 4x2, which means technically you'd want, like 4 lefts and 2 right-hand tuners or vice versa. But you can actually use like a set of 3x3s and just put one of them backwards. And tuners work fine forwards or backwards. Anybody who tells you otherwise, they're full of it. I'm only going to say one thing and that is, never send a carpenter to do an engineer's job. Alright, so to finish this thing out here, we've got almost all the numbers. We already know this is going to be a 40x90 heel, the standard triangular heel I'm using these days. And then all we got to do is figure out some tuner spacing. Let me get a smaller ruler. What are we running here? A little under 25. So yeah, something about 25 spacing probably. Would probably be good. Now since it's going to be a 4x2, it's going to need to be laid out for straight string pull, the way that this one is, because it's actually, yeah, it's pretty much straight string pull on this thing, as I recall. It's a little tight, and that helps hold all the saddles together this way on the bridge. Yeah, okay, so we're going to have 6 strings coming down like this. And we're going to go with like 1, 2, 3. How's a 4x2 go again? This way, yeah. And then you get like 1 here and 1 here. That kind of an idea. Yeah, and this one is farther forward than that one. But these two can't be adjacent to each other because the tuners won't fit close enough together. Otherwise, you could just, well, another option, but that goes to a 3x3. I was going to say that you could do something like this. And then these are almost straight pull, but not quite, because you can't quite get the 2 posts close enough together. And that's the kittens playing. So, yeah, it's going to be like this. And what's our string spacing at the bridge? It's about 10 mil. Yeah, right about 10. So we can probably go for about a 10 mil spacing here. And we should be okay. So like from there to there would be 10 mil. Up in there. And then same idea. So let's see. Our saddle line's here. And this is going to be 60 to here. And each of these is going to be 10 mil across. And we're going to go 25 this way. So we got 60, 25, another 25, another 25. How much do we want to leave past the end of this? Past last tuner, we're going to need a jack plate and a strap button, so we probably ought to leave a little space past it. Let's see, if our tuner is like at the end of the ruler, then this thing leaves almost 40 mil. So I guess we'll go with 40 mil. So that one down there to the end of the guitar would be 40, 25, 25, 25. Add it all up, we got 90 for the heel. We've got 162 from the heel to the saddle line. Then we got 60 from the saddle line to the first tuning peg. And then we got 25, 50, 75 between these three tuning pegs. And then we got another 40 mil to the end of the guitar to leave room for the jack and the strap button. And that's the full length of the body, which would be 2, 5, 7, 16, 9 is 25, 31, 38, 42, 427 millimeters. From one end of the body, from there to there. And width-wise, I don't know, where are we at here? This bridge is about 60. We could go 60, 80. This is an 80. That seems to be actually a pretty nice size. Maybe we should go 80. So let's call it 80. 80 wide. So, how big is this blank? This is a 87 millimeter wide blank, roughly. So, yeah, they come out of that. It could come out of this. How thick is this thing? This is 16, 17 mil, something around there. Yeah, about 17 mil. So this is probably a pretty decent size. 19 mil is 23 32nds, i.e. 3/4 inch plywood is about 19 mil, and this is 17 mil, so this should probably do for a body blank. Won't be able to get a bar out of it as well, though. Have to cut another piece for a bar, or dig up some more pine or something. What's the overall size of this thing? "19 inches. So maybe for pricing it out, we'll say that we took 2 feet worth of a 2x4, or a quarter of a 2x4, and then cut it in half, which gets us 2 of these, and there's one, and I'll get a bit of pine in order to do the bar, the swing bar, and we can say that came out of the other half, because this is definitely thinner than half of a 2x4, which means that all your wood for the guitar could come out of just like a quarter, 2 feet worth of 2x4. So I think we can claim that as the cost for the wood on this project. All right, I guess it's I got dimensions and everything. I guess it's time to mark out the body blank and start cutting. Okay, I think I'm going to run the planer over this a couple times just to clean it up. Well, it took an awful lot to get this thing planed down, and it's actually a little too thin in some places. Yeah, so I think we're going to cut another blank. Unless I can get a heel out of this, maybe. Problem is that it looks like it originally wasn't cut evenly, and so, yeah. I think I'm just going to cut another blank. I can use this for the bar. I can cut a bar blank out of this. So, well, as long as I'm thinking in terms of a new body blank, a convenient thing is when the blank is already the correct thickness, or ends up being finished at the correct thickness for the tuners, and then you don't need any routing. Like, for example, I believe this one's routed. Yeah, you can see that one has just a little bit of routing there for the tuners, because yeah, and it goes all the way back to there. And yeah, because the tuners are, you know, can only have that much wood in there, and the body is a little thicker. So I went ahead and assembled this one, and if you look closely, you'll see that this doesn't screw all the way down into the bottom, which is pretty normal for these things. And this way I can find out what the absolute minimum is, and you probably want to go like a millimeter thicker than this so that you're sure that this will actually clamp down. And let's see what we got here. I'm getting 13 mil. That's pretty common. So yeah, at least a 13 mil thick, and no thicker than, say, wow, these are pretty long. We could go as thick as 16 maybe. Yeah, somewhere between 13 and 16 mil thick. So maybe 15 mil or something like that. This one is now 16, but it's not uniform. It's only like 11 down at this corner. It slopes this way, and this corner slopes towards the camera. So yeah, it's not square. and it's not square enough in any direction that I could really like square it up easy. I'd have to like plane it or run it through the saw or something to square it up. It's not like I can I can't get square enough parts out of this to make a body and have the tuners fit and everything. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna fish around. There might be another blank floating around here.